Okay, here we go. It is Monday, March 11th. Thanks for joining me. All right, we're going to be talking about a massive weather pattern change that is going to occur right around Wednesday night and Thursday morning. And I think this weather pattern change is going to continue or bleed into the whole second half of March. So, quite a bit of a difference here, I think, between the first half of March and the second half of March. And we're going to get into that here. Okay, this is your latest GFS computer model guidance, the American model. We're zoomed out over all of North America and Central America, and you're seeing the 500 millibar heights. The heights at about 20 to 25,000 feet. And of course, we take a look at these blue areas and purple areas because these are what are considered troughs in the atmosphere. And you can see one here that is digging into the desert southwest as we go through this week. And what this trough is going to do is it's going to eject some energy northeast into the plains and upper Midwest. Hence the reason why we're going to have an opportunity for, I think, for some precipitation, especially on Thursday. And then look at this. Here comes your big weather pattern change, and focus on what's happening up here over Manitoba, North Dakota, northern Minnesota. This is a deepening trough that takes place during the weekend, this coming weekend. And not only does it dig into the eastern half of the U.S. this weekend and next week, but another reinforcing trough continues to come down right across the northern U.S. This is producing a battleground, I think, as we head into next week, right over our area as some warm air tries to penetrate north, or at least a ridge tries to penetrate north, but it's going to be running into a front that I think is going to be located right about here as we get into next week and then next weekend. I know a long ways away, but it's certainly worth looking into. Okay, now when we look at temperatures here over the next 10 to 14 days, look at this warmth. This is a near record-breaking warmth, or maybe even record-breaking warmth here over our region today and into tomorrow. And it actually lasts into Wednesday because you can see we have still some warm air over the eastern half of North America on Wednesday. But here's this storm system late Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. Watch how it pulls down some Arctic air, and here comes some of the Arctic air into a good chunk of the U.S. as we go into Thursday and Friday. And then we get into much more of a northwest flow, and you can see it right here. It's coming right out of Canada. And this means we're going to have reinforcing shots here of some Arctic air, not only this coming weekend, but into next week. And this is a much colder weather pattern than we're used to. Look at this is the middle of next week. Yeah, it's a good 7-8 days away, but look at all the cold air near and just north of Minnesota. And then here comes this warm air trying to nudge northeastward. You kind of got it correct here. We've got a front that's going to be located right about here next week, and I think that front is going to be active. So that's good news because we need moisture. I think we're going to get it here over the next 10 to 14 days or next couple of weeks. Here's your river of air, 30 to 35,000 feet, the jet stream. And here's the setup. Nice looking one for late Wednesday and especially Thursday. Trough digging over the western and central sections of the U.S. And we got a jet streak over northern Minnesota, and usually in between the nose of the jet streak here over the Texas Panhandle and this jet streak here over the Great Lakes in northern Minnesota, in between is where you get significant lift, and that's why I'm expecting some soaking rains. We'll see how far north these rains get, but for about at least the southern third of Minnesota, hopefully we can bump that rain area even further north well into our region. But at least I think the southern third of Minnesota is going to get a soaking rain as we go through Thursday. And then here comes the Arctic air. This is the northwest flow in our atmosphere as we get into the weekend. We're probably going to be talking about temperatures below normal. Imagine that as we get into Saturday and especially Sunday and Monday as a northwest flow dominates after Wednesday, I think, of this week. Hey, speaking of Thursday, because we really want to focus on late Wednesday night and into Thursday. This is Wednesday evening now. And look at how the winds at about 20 to 25,000 feet are flowing north and northeast into southern Minnesota. This is a pretty good setup for showers and maybe even some thunder showers to break out over much of Iowa and southern Minnesota as we get into late Wednesday night and then Thursday morning. Now, we need moisture, and of course, this is the precipitable water values now over the upper Midwest and northern plains. This is for today. Look how dry it is. There's just hardly any moisture in the air. That's the reason why it looks like today and tomorrow and even Wednesday, for the most part, it's going to be dry. But watch what happens as we go through the day Wednesday. And I'm just going to rewind this to Wednesday morning. Moisture over Iowa and Illinois is flowing north as we go through the day on Wednesday. And you can pretty much assume that even as we get into Thursday morning, this is just Wednesday evening, but as we get into Thursday morning, that moisture is going to probably sit right over southern Minnesota, northern Iowa, and western Wisconsin. You combine that with the winds coming up out of the south and southwest. Again, that's another real nice recipe or setup for at least some moisture, some rain, maybe even turning over to some wet snow on Thursday. All right, here is your trigger graph, and I've sent this to you. And I do think that the rain here on Thursday is going to be widespread. And there is the potential that if this storm system becomes dynamic enough that we could change it over to some wet snow. I'm not expecting a blizzard or anything like that, but it could be enough to cause some issues as we go through the day Thursday over portions of southern Minnesota. And then, hey, look, an active weather pattern as we get into also this weekend, and then this will continue even into, I think, much of next week, an active weather pattern. And probably just as important, our temperatures go from the 60s here over the next 3 days down into the 40s and even 30s as we get to this weekend. So a big weather pattern change taking place right around here, which would be Wednesday night and into Thursday morning, to much colder, more active environments for the second half of March. All right, there you go. That's the forecast. Thanks for joining me. Take care. We'll have a lot more for you this week.